Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tired. Soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe. Assembly's live, it's friendly vibes. Soul medicine will give you life. Your warrior.
I think that's why it's important for us to speak up on behalf of children, right? Just as children, because we don't have cruelty built into our ethnicity.
Right.
We don't have privilege built into our ethnicity. We don't have entitlement built into our ethnicity. We have collaborative community, resourcefulness. We have the ability to unite and share resources, find resources. And so I think this is an important conversation because we are scapegoated as the primary beneficiaries of all of these government programs, but the primary beneficiaries of them always are white people.
Yes, yes.
And it's just jarring to me that they vote against their own interests. So who winds up filling in the gaps? If there's white children in my children's classroom and they're hungry, you've got people on the internet, proud red hat wearers, saying, why should I buy supplies for the entire classroom? Okay, but see, I'm the parent who buys the packs of cup noodle and the hot water kettle and forks from Costco so that when children don't have a lunch that day, they can at least have a cup of soup.
That's right.
That they can have a protein bar. I'm the one paying for that out of my pocket. And I'm a Black woman who makes less on the dollar than a white woman or a white man ever would. So it does affect me. But it's more than that. It's why would you be okay with children starving? What is wrong with this country that the least of us should be suffering the most? This is so egregious. I can't wrap my brain around it.
Because you provide the
and we haven't even gotten into the Medicare cuts yet.
Right,
when they start bouncing elderly people who really need serious nursing around the clock are going to get kicked out of these facilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't vote for this, but it's part of my community. Not literally, but you know, if you're an American, you're in my country, right? Mm-hmm. It affects me. And, you know, I'm not one of those people who live in an affluent area who turns a blind eye to, you know, what's going on to other people, because I will always be Black first. And part of the Black experience is having compassion and an understanding of what's coming. You have this innate talent to be able to foresee what's coming ahead. When this bill passed, I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
It's going to affect everyone, but it's going to hurt us the most.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, even though we aren't the largest recipients of said program, the SNAP program, what is the Black income in America compared to the white income in America? Look at these exorbitant grocery prices.
Right. Yes.
And then you have people who are not white, who can afford to survive, but we have an obligation and a responsibility to look out for our own. Mm-hmm. So now this becomes my taxed income donation. This becomes my tax income burden, right? I have to do this. Mm-hmm. And then the first question on the internet, because all of us have been on the internet, land of the stupid, intentionally. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to give free food to Black kids, are you giving it to white kids? Well, I don't know. Have you given my children anything? What are you even asking me? Mm-hmm. How does this even make? Did you want your child to starve? What are we doing right now?
Right.
You voted for this. It's happening. So don't worry about what we're doing in our neighborhoods. Don't worry about how we're protecting our children. Don't worry about how we're feeding our children. But I'm worried nationally about every child, because it affects all of us. And from a medical standpoint, a malnourished child become susceptible to all sorts of diseases and issues that are lifelong.
Yes.
You're not coming back from that.
Nope.
Why would you do that to a child?
No.
SNAP benefits were already so restrictive. And instead of creating programs that help catch the people who aren't even eligible for SNAP, they're destroying it. But they could have put that same energy into destroying racism and the systems of racism and the institutionalized racism. But they didn't do that, did they?
Nope.
They're willing to hurt their own people, their own voters, their own constituents, their own neighbors. And we are to idly stand by. I'm not marching in the streets. But this is something I can do.
Yeah.
This is something I'm willing to fight. I still won't hit the streets. My body and my presence is way too precious for that.
Right.
I voted correctly. I ought not put myself in harm's way when I have an entire family that I'm a part of that needs me.
Right.
That's not my problem. But this, a hungry child, I mean, we were all children once.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've shared so generously, you benefited from the system. See, that makes me feel good. And then there was this thing on Twitter a while ago about the Women, Infants, and Children program, the WIC program that provided formula and iron-rich food for breastfeeding women of newborn children, infants. I'm more than happy to pay my taxes into safety net programs like that. I don't care if the infant is white, black, Asian, Latino. To me, it's a child.
Right.
And in this country has plummeting birth rates, it's foolish to even pretend they don't know why. You create the situation where wages are stagnant, inflation is skyrocketing, you're eliminating safety nets, so you've got young adults who can't even care for themselves, and you've got boomers teasing them that they can't take care of themselves and buy a house in this predatory market. They can't pay their student loans, they're predatory student loans, but they're laughing at them because they don't want to have kids. And then when you do have children, these same people who vote against their own interests as well as yours have the audacity to say, well, why'd you have them if you can't feed them?
Yes.
If you can't provide them health care, why'd you have them? If you can't provide shelter, why do you keep having them? So what conversation are we actually having here?
Right.
It's not a conversation. In your absence, the last 2 weeks, I spent a lot of time tuning into the types of things people comment on my posts. And I have found that a lot of it is a nothing conversation. It's nonsense. They say stupid things like, well, what'd you think? Well, that figures. Like, geez, you're so smart. Thanks for sharing that worthless sub-post. How did we ever get along without you? If it isn't that, then it's the cruelty, right? And they're proud of it. They wear it like a badge.
Oh, yeah.
So I was curious. I looked online and I searched, and you're welcome to search it this way. Please don't use AI. Good God, turn that off on your searches. Search engine is better than AI. Just anyway, the keywords I searched was white Christianity cruelty. And the first article that popped up, would you know, in this year, in this month, cruelty is a huge part of MAGA Christianity. Yeah. I don't understand this. They think compassion is a sin.
Yes. Yes.
I'm horrified by this. So who suffers? Children. But they can't advocate for themselves.
Nope.
And that's devastating to me. Senior citizens who paid for roads and schools and bridges, and they did their part. Can they not live out their senior years in dignity? Why are we denying them food and health care? They worked their whole lives for this rest that they earned. What are we doing? I'm not saying this to my fellow Democrats. We voted correctly. My entire party voted against this bill. Not one Democrat voted for it. I'm not saying this to them because we already know, we've had these conversations. I'm saying it to the they, right? The, quote, they, the people who don't think this way or who know people who don't think this way. And you can't verbalize why it's so bad because it's shocking. The hatred and the cruelty. Our children deserve better. Great societies provide outstanding care to their children and their elderly. We are failing by that metric severely. And I'm so worried for these children going back to school. It's not about school shootings. It's not about which bathroom you're going to use. We're down to the most basic. Are these children fed? And how will they perform in school? How do we as a country maintain our power if our younger generations aren't equipped for it?
It's nothing new. This is why I love history. This is why I framed it like I framed it as a human condition. Consider this. Human beings, just like me and you, human beings in this country were enslaved. Human beings, you've had a child, my wife had a child. At one point in this country, their baby wasn't there. They would give birth to a baby. If that white owner wanted to sell that baby, they could sell that baby under the law. Human beings were chattel. They didn't go on the books. They were in the chattel like goats, cows, calves, sheep, and dogs. They were property. White people back then, it's nothing new, went to war to keep human beings, because they had more melanin in their skin, enslaved. It took 4 years to fight it, and over 700,000 people were killed to keep human beings enslaved. This country, and I love a word that you use. One thing the civil rights movement taught me is we got to get the language right. This is bigger than a bill. This is bigger than a president. This is bigger than a party. This is white supremacy and what white supremacy does. It is cruel. It is evil. And it doesn't care about your humanity. They would justify it. White people from the South went to war to keep people enslaved, to keep selling their children, to take their lives, to take their agency, to take their manhood, to take their womanhood, to take everything in them. This is nothing new. This is what white supremacy does. It is cruel. It is evil. It doesn't care who it destroys. It don't care who's eat. It don't care who's about to enslave. It don't care about the children. It's not a bad thing. It's not a thing it is cruelty. It is evil. This is why I try to define it when I listen. Because no, this is evil. This is cruel. This is inhumane. If you're a dog, you mentioned if you're a pet, looks at you with their beautiful eyes and communicate to you that they're hungry, you're going to feed that pet. And a child can be just sloshed aside right now because they don't matter. An enslaved black woman, it doesn't matter. You want to keep your child that you labor for 9 months with, you kept the baby for 9 months, we're going to take it and sell it down the road. So when you look at the country, this is what colonizers do. This is what white supremacists do. They are cruel. They are evil. They're inhumane. They don't care. And I can't get people to seem to want to just accept that. They want to, but they are cruel. People died to keep people as slaves, to keep selling their children, to keep raping their wives, to keep butt breaking their husbands. I mean, am I wrong? This is history. This is who they've always been. And to these people they build statues to. They got schools named after these Confederate generals, Rob Lee, all of them. They got schools and streets named after them. And they're traitors, so-called traitors. And so when I look at stuff like this, it's just cruelty. It's who they are. This is why I would say until white supremacy is eradicated, but nobody wants to talk about that. They won't talk. It's white supremacy. It's evil. It's cruel. This is what it does. You say they don't, yeah, and they'll vote again the same way tomorrow. Because they don't care who's not eating. They don't care about whose lives they're destroying. They don't have no logical sense of right and wrong. They're not going to go to bed and not sleep. They're going to sleep they're going to sleep good. Or 700,000 people got killed. Oh, now let's create Jim Crow. Let's create black clothes. Okay, let's use the 13th Amendment to change it and put them in prison now. So we'll convict them and then we'll make them slaves in prison. We'll just go to convict lease and now we'll make the prisoner slave now. They just repackage. All white supremacy does is just repackage their cruelty. To try to put they like to say lipstick on the pig. They just repackage it. They just give it in different packages. These people will vote again tomorrow the same way. These people are cruel. They don't care about kids not eating. They don't care who's hungry. They don't care about, right and wrong. They don't want to hear no epiphany. They don't want to hear no arguments. We're dealing with white supremacy. It's amazing to me how white people has got all the handouts. They got handed the country. They stole people, made them slaves. They built their wealth by handout, and now they don't want nobody. You don't want to feed a child. And everything you've gotten, everything your ancestors got, everything that you have was given because you stole it. Your ancestors stole it from somebody else. You stole the labor, you stole the land, and everything else. But you just can't stomach a handout. You just can't stomach in your mind a handout. That's what they call it. You can't stomach feeding a child. You can't stomach that an elderly person getting Medicare. You can't stomach just somebody getting something they didn't work for. What did your ancestors work for? What did your ancestors build? No, they stole everything. They was handed free labor by force under a gun and a whip. They sold babies. They had breeding farms. It forced women to have babies that they stole to keep the labor force. But they can't stomach a hand. But no, we're not giving nothing away. We can't stomach somebody getting a check for nothing. Really? They're cruel. They don't care about this history. This is why they want to erase. This is why they want to take the Smithsonian and erase everything about that. Because they want future generation not to know nothing about it. They trying to erase everything. So I'm never surprised at the cruelty of white supremacy. It's in their DNA. It's in their bloodlines. We have always depended on community. What the great news of the story is we're going to survive it because we've always had to survive it. The people that's going to get hurt and can't survive, all these white people out here who can't, because they don't know how to survive it. They don't know about community. They don't know about I'm my brother's keeper. They don't know about banding together. They don't know about sticking with it. They don't know about hardships. They voted for their own suffering. But we're not afraid of suffering because we've always been in this position, watching white people and white supremacists in their colonizing ways. Just cruel. Yeah.
Well, as we approach the school year, I think we all need to be aware that kids are going to start being sent home more.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be acting properly around your children. So keep an extra eye on your kids. But also, hunger makes people do strange things. And children are, they're not clear on boundaries, right?
Right.
Because they're still learning that skill.
Right.
So I would just make sure that, Black families have conversations with their daughters and sons at certain ages. I think this is a conversation, but also I would like to, for the parents who are really active in the classroom, have talks with your teacher and find out ways that we can get resources to kids who are hungry. We're not going to villainize and demonize them because they're hungry. Let's make sure every kid gets fed however we can. That's small scale, right? It's personal in your classroom. For those of us who have the funds, it's important now than ever to research your local food banks and make sure which food banks are giving the most money to the people who come instead of the people who work there. That's a really important metric. Donate to those places. Don't donate food because they are more resourceful with money than they are with food donations. Where I live in Marin County, our food bank has incredible food offerings from fresh produce, dairy, protein sources that require refrigeration, as well as canned goods, shelf stable dry goods. So you want to look out for those things on a personal. What can I do, right? When you're reading these articles, don't get lost in the apathy, and don't get lost in the they're white, I'm black, they're this, I'm that. What can you as a person contribute to the problem? Because children going hungry and elderly people going hungry, this is actually something we can do something about.
Yes.
On top of calling our representatives or calling those red state representatives. Because really, again, worth noting, 0 Democrats voted for this legislation. So why would we be calling our own representatives? Our representatives did what the 92 and 80% did. They voted against it. So you're going to have to call red states. But I think it's important to look at a problem, understand the problem, and really fine tune and be practical about what you can do about it to make a difference. I was a child once.
Yeah.
I wish adults advocated more for me and showed up more for me as a child. I don't mean me as an individual. I just mean children in general. Mm. So budgets are tight, and that's fine. Do what you can do. I know there's a lot of Black communities that have personal food pantries for people in their circle that they know. Maybe this is something that you may want to start. But if you're a parent in a classroom, the classroom, that's your community, the children in the classroom. See what you can do.